In a few weeks I head north to circumnavigate Scotland and gain my final insight into mental health, with a willingness to try whatever it takes to conquer my unruly emotions and enlighten myself to a more cognizant existence. When I completed England and Wales, the point was to produce an organic story with just basic supplies, wild, solo, unsupported, and especially with no money. A social experiment to force me to connect with people, and the kindness of strangers and followers who offered shelter and fed me as the hungry supper. A transparent adventure, and how you connect with yourself through adventure. Open up. Setting up camp, not having any money, is kind of quite stressful, but very rewarding. Sometimes having support deprives you of the necessary vulnerabilities required to draw out your full potential. It's just me, and the silence. But I had to find the balance of an intrepid pursuit with an engaging education into my mind that could address the most vulnerable things about myself, through all adversities as they happened, taking responsibility of my life as much as my footprint on the way. However many people supported me and the connections I made and the unlikely friends I gained, my spontaneity was sometimes hard to follow, even with the tracker on. Most of the time I had to sleep wild, rough, and take advantage of anything I could find. Another blog from the bog. The wind and tide were my gods, and sometimes forcing me to sleep in caves and on the ledges of cliffs. With no land support, I had to resupply my food and water from the nearest villages. So to keep my kit safe, I either pretended I was asleep on it or buried it until I returned. I shared many memories with animals on my trips, as I always do. Most of them loved me. There were some mysterious deaths, but mainly experiences that would make the trip very special. When I made it to Scotland, I reluctantly decided to cross the country to the west coast and enjoy the suppers and supporters that were helping me get around this country before the winter set in. So with the lowest footprint, cheapest purchase I could find, I embarked on a quest across the border.
It's the money, it's the money, it's the money, yeah. It's the money, it's the money, it's the money, yeah.
I'm gonna die any second now. It's okay, guys, get out of my way! I promise you everything's fine. You are now free. Follow me. We make a new colony. There's a big bull on the other side of the fence to the females. Oh no!
There's a rivalry. Lads. Oh, that's some baseline. All you mookers, come. Yeah. Yes. Okay, enough, lads. Gotta get going. Coast to coast on a child's bike. I've got serious nappy rash. I don't think I'm ever gonna have kids after this either. Oh honey, I'm home. 20 minutes till sundown, and I've just arrived in Blackpool. There's Blackpool Tower and that distant land, the last of the Lake District. And the sun has popped up at last because I started paddling when it was quite dark because I needed the tide. I needed to get going. It's thawing me out now. Oh. Wales is so beautiful, man. I just want to give it more time. The people are wonderful. The scenery is amazing. The fishermen are very cool. I followed the coastline, but I didn't really get to see much of it. Most of the day I spent miles out at sea cutting across big chunks of this rugged coastline. I would communicate with the RNLI and Coast Guard most days and navigate through the shipping lanes and wind farms. There's a headland in the distance, which is just before Anglesey. It's about 50k away. In front of it, I've got a wind farm that they don't really want to go through. And where that tanker is, I also have a shipping lane that they need to get through. But however much I communicated and however much that would save my life, there were some times where it nearly went horribly wrong. Can you hear it? Guns going off all the time. I just really want to show you these jets. That was just like all whistling over my head. I'm meant to be out there crossing to Lundy Island, where all that is going to. That's not very polite. I don't understand. The communication is obviously, yeah. I'm gonna get in, or whenever in is, otherwise I'm gonna have to scramble at the top of that and camp up there. Fuck me, man. See you later. Spending too long by myself, making funny noises. This is gonna be a fight, eh?
Finally get to have a shower. It's been a few days.
And now my focus turns to the final level boss and the concluding battle around Scotland, wild and unsupported.